Today on Judge Faith, a near-fatal accident forced these two to face each other in court.
And all of a sudden, I just hear a roar. I see a truck right on me. Boom! Your Honor, not only did he hit me, he was going to flee the scene of the accident.
I mean, you're lucky that truck went right by your
I
head.
smelled his tire.
And later, Latrina and Savannah battle it out before the judge.
So I'm like, okay, this is an A and B conversation. See yourself out of it. I mean, then she was like, I'm gonna put my hands on you. I said, once you put your hands on me, you're gonna go to jail because obviously you can see I'm pregnant.
But Judge Faith tells the ladies to pump the brakes on their baby mama drama.
You have a choice to make here. This is not a therapy session, this is court. You have kids with the same man, so you are going to be connected in some kind of way.
I agree.
For a long time.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Sherwin Ross says he was blissfully riding his motorcycle when the defendant slammed into him. He's suing for a deductible, damaged jeans, and loss of income. But defendant Marcos Contreras says the police report determined it was Sherman who was at fault for speeding into the intersection, and he owes the plaintiff nothing. Joining him in court is Elizabeth Gilman.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this is Ross versus Contreras.
Thank you, Barbara. Mr. Ross, you are suing the defendant for hitting you with his truck while you were riding your motorcycle. You say he owes you $10,000 for a deductible, ruining your designer jeans, and loss of income due to pain and suffering. Mr. Contreras, you say you don't owe anything because the accident was the plaintiff's fault. I'll hear from you first, Mr. Ross. What happened?
Okay. I was driving 9:25 in the morning on March 19th. Beautiful morning, totally at peace, enjoying the day, and all of a sudden I just hear a roar. I see a truck right on me. Boom! He hit my front fender. I went flying. I went down to the ground. My bike spun around. Your Honor, not only did he hit me, he was going to flee the scene of the accident. Somebody ran after his truck and stopped him. It was caught on closed-circuit TV.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
So this is Marcos coming down in the red truck. Before he gets the middle of the intersection, boom! He speeds up, hit me. You can see the truck hitting my front fender. The front of my bike was in the front of his truck. I'm down on the ground. People start running over. He has no driver's license, and he has no insurance.
Sorry.
He shouldn't have even been behind the wheel of a truck. He's a danger. I have a mild concussion. I still have vertigo to this day. My head spins. I still have elbow pain, knee pain.
I mean, you're lucky that truck went right by your head.
I smelled his tire. I smelled the rubber. Another 6 inches, I'd be pinned under my bike with the hot mufflers melting my skin. I'd be pinned under the bike, pinned under the truck, just another 6 inches. My crash bar saved the whole day. You know, in the trauma center, the police came to visit me. That's when they told me that, you know, you're pretty much SOL. The guy that hit you has no driver's license and no insurance. And we see this every day. He came up to me at the scene of the accident.
This was a really serious accident, and I'm really glad that you were wearing a helmet. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to wear helmets when people are on bikes.
Your Honor.
Because your head hit the pavement, and you really could have suffered really serious injuries as a result of this. I want to know how, if we go back to the video, the first frame in that video, you said that someone told you that it was okay to go. You obviously couldn't see around the cars that were next to you. Someone on the street told you that it was okay for you to proceed forward?
No, there's motorists driving there. They say, yes, keep going, because I was going too slow.
Let's roll the video again. The fact is, I don't think you could see around the cars that were next to you. You pause right there, and then you speed up to go through the intersection.
Yeah,
and that's when you hit him.
I was trying to stop. It was clear. It was totally clear.
It wasn't clear. It wasn't clear because you hit him in 3 seconds. It wasn't clear.
It was clear.
So you're saying that you were driving through the intersection.
Yes.
You stopped at the stop sign.
Yes.
Why did you go if you couldn't see what was on either side of you? It was not clear, sir.
It was like a half.
He enters that intersection in less than 3 seconds after you proceed to go through the intersection.
Even the cops told me that.
The fact is, you didn't see him, and just because you didn't see him, you want to say that it was clear. It wasn't clear. Your defense is you were going through the intersection, he was speeding, sped up, and that's how you ended up hitting him? That's your defense?
I didn't hit him. He hit me. He landed on me.
You know what?
A cops told me, I don't have the paper with me, but a cop stop was there. I said, look, I asked them, it's my fault. They said, you know what?
Well, you know what? You didn't bring your paperwork to court, so in my mind, it doesn't even exist. You don't have your paperwork, it doesn't exist. That's your burden of proof. Who's your witness today?
I got my witness, my wife.
Okay, let's hear, what do you have to say, ma'am? Step up to the lectern.
I was not there. I did not see the accident. I was not with Marcos. All I know is that Sherwin came to our house.
Okay, well, don't tell me anything that he told you because that's hearsay.
I did give him my phone number as well because at that time...
Where was Marcos?
He was still in jail.
Oh,
at that point.
Why were you in jail?
I was in jail, not because of the accident. And maybe this one, he can help you. I asked the cop, look, what I'm being arrested? He said, you're not arrested for the accident because it's not your fault. In fact, they showed me the video when I was in Lake County, and they said, look, you were 3 miles an hour, and then he was 25. He was speeding. He said, okay, what is my charges? They said, you had accumulation tickets for warrants. You haven't paid.
You were arrested at the scene for warrants,
outstanding warrants. Not for accident.
Warrants
okay,
for what?
Accident? My fault. They said, no, it's not your fault.
Warrants for
he was
what?
Speeding.
Warrants for what?
One, for now driving without insurance. 2, for using the phone.
While you're driving.
That's why
driving violations. And
another one for invalid license.
That sounds about right.
And like 3 more warrants for being late on my child support.
Coming up on Judge Faith, who had the right of way?
I've been riding for 45 years. I've never had an accident.
Me either.
After this.
You have enough tickets to last you a lifetime, so I need you to be quiet.
And later, Judge Faith talks truth to these 2 dueling divas.
I was not breaking into his house.
There's no excuse for the eggs, the king of the cars.
But this has to do with
calling
him.
somebody
this
70 times.
With her.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
This is your life, and these are your choices that you were making. You're not making the right choices.
Plaintiff Sherwin Ross says he was blissfully riding his motorcycle when the defendant slammed into him. He's suing for a deductible, damaged jeans, and loss of income. But defendant Marcos Contreras says the police report determined it was Sherwin who was at fault for speeding into the intersection, and he owes the plaintiff nothing.
When I went to finally face Marcos face to face after Elizabeth told me he just got out of jail, I then said, Marcos, do you know you nearly killed me? And he said, oh, yeah. This man did not apologize to me. He had no compassion of this life-changing event in my world. It's a life-changing event.
What do you have to say about that?
I don't clearly remember that day when he stopped by. I was working that day there. I specifically work in that place every day. I work, basically on most of the dealers in South California, piano dealers.
I've been riding for 45 years. I've never had an accident.
Me either.
After this...
You have enough tickets to last you a lifetime, so I need you to be quiet.
I honestly have lost a lot of the joy I had in riding. I'm very scared now. Every intersection I go into, I'm like waving to people, flashing my lights, revving the engine. Right. Do you see me? Do you see me? I'm so...
Well, it's a traumatic experience.
It's traumatic.
When you're hit like that in an accident. It's a traumatic experience.
You should pay attention.
You didn't know that he was speeding because you didn't see him.
No, the cop told me you were like 30 miles an hour right there in an intersection, 50 miles an hour.
35 miles an hour is the speed zone.
A picture really is worth 1,000 words because when I look at that video and I see that intersection, he has the right of way. There's no stop sign. Do not interrupt while I'm ruling. He has no stop sign. There is no red light. You didn't see him, so you don't know if he was speeding or not. That's just an excuse you're trying to use. I said don't interrupt. and I see you come up to that stop sign in that intersection, and you clearly can't see what's on the right of you because you slowly creep forward and then you speed up and accelerate to go through the intersection.
Nobody
I
coming over.
said, don't interrupt. That's 3 times. The next time you're out. Less than 3 seconds later, you hit him head on in the front of his motorcycle, and you barely miss his head when you drive around him. You could have killed him. So I find you are liable for this accident. The question is how much you're going to pay him in damages. You owe him $1,000 for the deductible. I also find that you owe him for the ambulance bill, which is $1,451.75. Do you have proof that you missed work as a result of this accident?
I have no proof.
Because you were not
I'm
working.
self-employed and I was working.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I can't award you for missing work. The motorcycle was covered under your insurance, so there's no out-of-pocket expenses for the motorcycle itself. Verdict for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,451.75. You need to keep your eye on the road and stop running people over.
Plaintiff Ladrina Underwood says her baby daddy's other baby mama ruined her summer vacation. She's suing the defendant for harassment. But defendant Savannah Kuntz is countersuing for pain and suffering because she claims Ladrina is intentionally causing baby mama drama.
Okay, Ladrina Underwood?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant Savannah Kuntz for $500 for harassment?
Yes.
And Ms. Kuntz, you are countersuing for $2,000 for pain and suffering?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with you. Ms. Underwood, what's going on here? How do you know the defendant?
The defendant and I both have a child by the same man. She has, the first time that we
How old is your
across,
child?
she's 8 years old now.
Okay, and how old is your child?
8 months.
Do you have a boy or girl?
A little boy.
Okay.
I've been dealing with her harassment since day one.
Are you still with the baby's father?
I was not with him when she got pregnant by him.
Okay, and what about you? Are you still seeing him?
No, not at all.
By the way, where is Casanova today? Is he not
MIA.
here?
MIA.
Okay. How many babies does Romeo have by
3.
different women?
3.
Okay.
3
All right.
women, 3 children.
He might not be best boyfriend, but he is an
That's an
excellent
understatement.
father.
I consider an excellent father to be someone who's a good role model to their
Thank you.
kids.
He's a
And
good role
in order to
model.
be a good role model to your kids, you have to know how to treat the people in your life.
He's a
So
good
I'm just
role
saying,
model.
don't sell yourself short
Oh,
when,
I don't-
when you say that, because
I don't sell myself short,
Yes.
and I'm not dating
Yes.
him. The problem is harassment.
I'm not sure if you
she's
are
harassing
or not,
me.
because I don't understand why the two of you are here, and why the two of you. I understand that you have children with the same man, and that's just a fact. You have to accept it. That happened.
That's right.
And
That's
the
right.
fact that the two of you are in so much conflict doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You have a choice to make. You can either get along because your kids are going to see each other and be together if they're with their father, or you can do what you've been doing, which is cause each other to have miserable lives.
I tried.
So which is it going to be?
She caused me to have miserable lives.
I tried to
She called me
bury the
over
hatchet.
70 times.
Hold on a second.
She called me
What did she
over
do?
70 times
Yes, I did.
every day.
Yes.
And you see, she admits
I
to
did.
it.
Coming up, Judge Faith calls a timeout on the baby mama drama.
This is just a bunch of drama.
It is
to
a
be
bunch of
honest with
drama.
you.
The
This is a
problem
bunch of
is
drama.
she-
No one else is responsible
agree.
for the
I
choices that you
agree.
make.
And
That's
like I
on
said-
you.
Plaintiff Ladrina Underwood says the defendant ruined her summer vacation. She's suing for harassment. But defendant Savannah Kuntz is countersuing for pain and suffering because she claims the plaintiff intentionally caused the baby mama drama.
That's borderline stalking, harassment. which
Yeah,
is what
I admit
she's
that I
suing
was
for
doing
now.
that because
She's
she
upset
was sitting
because
here
we
calling my.
co-parent.
She will not stop getting in our business, Your Honor. She keep involving
not
herself.
involve
Every time I go
myself.
to his house,
I do not
she
involve
comes into
myself
like one
at all
time
with
she
the
tried to put her
defendant.
hands on me when I was
blocked her
pregnant.
number.
Hold on a
I called
second.
the police
Hold
on
on.
her.
One time when I was pregnant, Me and him were talking. He came out to talk to me. He's like, I'm gonna take you home. And I was like, okay. She comes outside with her kids. I'm like, okay, this is an A and B conversation. See yourself out of it. She's like, no, we gotta go get the baby just outfit
I don't
from
act
Ross.
like that. We
I'm
see
like,
you act like
excuse
that.
me? I'm like, excuse me? And then she was like, I'm gonna put my hands on you. I said, that's what you're not gonna do is put your hands on me. I said, once you put your hands on me, you're gonna go to jail because obviously you can see I'm pregnant. She was like, get her out my face, get her out my face. I swear I'm here. I said, girl, boo, if you wanna take it there, we're gonna take it there.
Who did the egging and scratching up somebody's car?
But this has nothing to do with her. This has nothing to do with her, Your Honor.
Me and my children were at the home at that time. Like I said,
when was that?
We co-parent. It was in the summer of 2013.
And what did you do?
Basically, when I was telling the story about when I went to the house, she opened the door, she closed the door. So I was like, seeing him outside. She was like, no, he's not gonna stop talking. So they called the police. The police came out and I explained what happened. They was like, so what do you want to happen? I said, to be honest, I just want him to talk. Every time he's at my house, he gotta jump and leave. And I'm like, why are you leaving?
With him.
And I'm like, why are you leaving?
I don't have him.
So what did you do? You egged the house?
Yes, I did. And I have proof that I paid him for the damages of this year.
So far, you've admitted to egging a house, calling her over 70 times.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying, you're almost 30 years old. You're acting like a scorned teenager.
And I got a
That's
video.
just real. No. That's real. Let me tell you something. Let me finish. No, because you are a mother now. That is very low-brow behavior.
But someone keeps pushing me.
No, ma'am. You are responsible for your life. No one else is responsible for the choices that you make. That's on you. And let me tell you something. You are not making the right choices. You should have higher expectations for yourself because if he wanted to be with you, no one could stop him from being with you. Not her, not anyone else.
Yes.
That's his choice.
And he admitted to that.
This is just a bunch of drama.
It is a bunch of drama.
The problem is she's been
What's the
harassing
video?
me. I'm tired of it.
You submitted a video for evidence?
I had a video. Me and my daughter were at home. I house sit for him.
What is this a video of?
This is her sticking her hand in through the window. I did.
She did.
What am I seeing here?
She is sticking her hand in through the curtain, trying to see if he's home because he wasn't, so I did not answer the door. And then she finally sees, oh, it's me, and telling me she don't care if she's being videotaped, and she just
Where's the audio?
there.
Where's the audio?
What, is that you?
Where's the audio?
I'm asking,
That's
is
her.
that you?
Yeah. I still got the video on my phone to this day.
Where's the audio?
And you are doing what exactly in this video?
I was talking, when I came to his house,
screen.
first of all,
second.
when I came to his house, I was going through an emotional, threatening a miscarriage. Then on top of that, I became temporarily homeless. He told me to come to the house. He was like, come straight to the house. He was like, I'm at the beach with the children. Come straight to the house. I said, okay, I'm coming straight to the house.
Don't stop interrupting.
So when I got to the house, I'm knocking on the door. I'm texting him like, okay, I'm at the house. He's like, okay, I'm here. I said, how are you here? I said, how are you here? And I hear someone moving in the house. So I'm talking through the screen. I was like, you know what? He stopped texting. So I'm talking through the screen. I'm pouring my feelings out through the screen, crying, hysterical, letting him know, like, I can't do this. I'm at a point where I'm homeless. Me and my daughter, you sat here and left us for dead. I can't do this anymore. I got to go back out of state to try to get back right so I can come back out here for my child. I'm not doing this anymore. So I'm hearing movement and snickering. So I cut the screen. I did do that. And when I looked through the window, she's recording. She's recording. I'm like, wait a minute. So you telling me you've been recording this the whole time? Yep, I was recording the whole time. I said, so why would you play with my emotions? Like, why are you taking somebody talking through a screen and start recording, and then you're snickering? Like, that's immature. I said, she was like, well, you're immature.
Ma'am, you're breaking into somebody's house.
No,
Do you
it wasn't
understand
breaking.
that?
I was not breaking into his house. Your Honor,
you're burglarizing someone's home. That is exactly what it is.
Your Honor.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
There's no excuse for the eggs,
excuse.
the king of the cars.
But this has to do with
calling
him.
somebody
This has
70
nothing to do
times.
with her.
No, ma'am.
All I did
No,
was call
ma'am.
her
This
phone.
is your life, and these are your choices that you were making.
And it has
You're
nothing
not
to do
making
with
the
her,
right
Your Honor.
choices.
It's
You're not
not-
making
that
the right
was then.
choices.
That was then.
You are not making the right choices.
And that was then. And I agree, I wasn't.
Neither one of you are with this guy right now.
I'm not
so
with
you
him.
have to get beyond that
Yes.
and have some mutual respect for each other.
I tried.
Woman,
I tried.
You're not even letting me speak. Calm down. You have kids with the same man, so you are going to be connected in some kind of way
I agree.
for a long time. You have a choice to make here. Whether you are going to continue to cause chaos into each other's lives, because it sounds like he's not going to change, and he's going to be exactly the person who I think he is, and I think who you know him to be at this point.
Yes.
He's not going to change, but you're the one that has to change, because this is not a therapy session, this is court. And so it's going to be up to the two of you. You're not getting any money in this case, because this is nothing but a bunch of drama. Go home, get it together, get your lives together, and move on. If you can't get along, don't contact each other and move on. Have a good day.
Go ahead, next.